Well, today is about something that is very inexpensive, but is a fantastic tool for videographers. But it's something that you don't see a lot of reviews on, or a lot of people talking about them, and they really can make your video, the smoothness of your video and the ease of use of capturing video much more simpler. And that is a monopod. Now, the one we've got here, it's just an aluminium one. It's quite strong, very inexpensive. It's about $130 Australian. That's the retail price. So it's not a very expensive piece of kit. And I followed up quite small. And they're very, very quick to use, very, very quick to adjust. And unlike a tripod, they're not as awkward to use. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at this Vanguard monopod, and we're going to see how we can use it just bolted straight to the camera or on a gimbal. So let's roll our intro and let's get into it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go outside, and I've got a DJI RS3 Pro gimbal that we're going to use, and we're going to mount my R3 to that, and we're going to put the monopod on that and show the ease of use and how we can get shots that we normally wouldn't be able to get. We're also going to bolt the monopod straight to the camera, onto the bottom of the camera, and we're going to compare between just handheld and then using the monopod to rest it on the ground and then just maneuver the camera with using a fairly telephoto lens like an 85mm. So let's go out into the garden and let's have a look at what this monopod can do for us. When we're shooting video and we want a bit more of a reach with our lens, we've got this telephoto lens here, and I've also got a lens sitting on the table and this beautiful piece of pottery that's a lovely blue color, and we want to get that kind of compressed look, and we're using like an 85mm lens, and it might be a 50 or an 85mm lens, and you want to video it and you want to take pictures of it, but we want to get it as good as we can in camera, because warp stabilizer, as good as it is, it doesn't always define the subject correctly, and sometimes we get a little bit of warping when it's transitioning or think that it's following the subject in the video. So we want to get it as good as we can in camera. Now, when we're just shooting handheld, I'm going to shoot it handheld first, then I'm going to use a monopod, and then we're going to see the difference. So first of all, I'll turn my camera on to video. Let's turn it on, and let me put my glasses on so I can see what I'm shooting. And I'm basically going to put it onto, let me just get the exposure right. So I've got the exposure right. So now I'm going to film. Okay, I'm filming it. I'm just holding it handheld. I can tuck my arms in. I can try and get it a little bit better. And you can see there I've got my jar and I've got my camera there, and I'll stop that. Now what we'll do is we'll put the monopod on, and we'll compare the shots. So let me just get the monopod. So I've got the monopod here. Now this one here is just a Vanguard aluminium one, and these aren't too expensive. This thing is about $130 Aussie, and we can just screw that onto the bottom of the camera. It's that simple. I've got a strap that I use, a Joby strap, which has got a Arca Swiss plate on the bottom, and that Arca Swiss plate has got a screw and thread. So I can just drop that in there, and I can just extend my monopod as I like to see fit. Now I can bring my screen out because this is a Canon camera, and I can use that to judge it. Now all I have to do is just leave the weight, and I can just direct the camera by leaning on the pod. So what we'll do is I'll get that there, and I'll get it into focus, and then I'll just do that, and now I'm filming. There's the lens. There's the RS3 box, and there's my blue piece of pottery. So we can compare those two different shots and see how steady they are. And I'll put a warp stabilizer on both of them, and I'll put the warp stabilizer not on both of them. as you can see here, I've got the DJI RS3 Pro with the monopod on, and I'm just resting, I'm just holding it on the ground. So this is really convenient. So let's just say I was just waiting between shots. I don't actually have to carry it or put it down. I can just hold it and I can just stand with the gimbal. Very easy to do. What we can also do with the monopod is do like crane type shots. So what we can do here is I'll just start this camera here, and I can hold the camera right up here into the air. I can even get it near some of the trees here to get a bit of a look. And then I can drop the camera down through those trees and drop it right down into the ground. And I can also take it up again. So you can do crane shots really quite easy. And the more wide angle the lens you have on the camera, the more that effect has more dramatic movement, because the wide angle lens shows more faster movement around the edges of the lens. So that's something you can do. Now we're going to also do the stuff on the table, which is the lens and the blue porcelain container. So I just need to stop the camera, hang on, and reset the exposure because we're under the shade. I'll just blow out the background a little bit, otherwise it'll be a little bit underexposed. Start the camera. Now as you can see here, I'm using the back of the monopod here as a balance, so it makes it very, very easy to balance the camera and the gimbal. And that's one of the disadvantages with the DJI RS3 Pro. It is very, very top heavy because the handle of the gimbal is very low. There's no weight underneath it. So it's like trying to hold a hammer with the hammer head, and you're trying to hold the hammer right at the end. But when you have this monopod on, it makes it much, much easier to balance, and I can push it out quite easy and move it away quite easy. And I have this really good balance here of the camera, which makes it very, very easy. And so that is the beauty of having a monopod on a gimbal. It gives you the ability to go very, very low, very quickly. And I can go very, very close to the ground without even bending down. And I can also go up and go very high, very easily. And I can all do that in one go. So that is the beauty of having a monopod on a gimbal with your camera. Well guys, that's what a monopod can do. It can really make your life a lot easier and also take the fatigue off your arms when you're just resting and you're just waiting for the person or the subject or the model or the talent to get into the shot, because you can rest the gimbal on the ground. You can also rest your camera on the ground. And the other thing you can also do as well is you can use it to do crane shots and also very low shots without having to climb on things or bend down and get that. So you can go from a very high view to a very low view, and you can do that with ease using the monopod. It also acts as a cantilever balance, so when you're holding the gimbal, especially the DJI one that is very top heavy, it makes it much easier to hold because you haven't got that wrist twisting action, because the monopod acts as like a balance to the gimbal. Of course, it's not a full counterweight, but it acts at some counterweight. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments down below if you've got any questions about the monopod or using it with a gimbal or just using it freehand, using the monopod to rest on the ground. Just leave them down below and I'll see if I can get back to you and answer those questions. And anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Thanks for watching WAYNOS Photos Cameras. Leave a like and I will see you next vid.